website. Next, the pressure's mounting again on Iran and the six world powers ahead of Tuesday, their latest deadline to strike a nuclear deal. The negotiators have already missed a couple of deadlines this year alone, but this time they say it's now or never.
My message today is that if a deal can be closed, it's now. Not time.
There have been signals from both sides that progress has been made, but US Secretary of State John Kerry says that nothing is certain yet.
I want to be absolutely clear with everybody. We are not yet where we need to be on several of the most difficult issues. And the truth is that while I completely agree with Foreign Minister Zarif that we have never been closer, at this point, this negotiation could go either way.
Anastasia Churkina reports now from Vienna, where day 10 of nuclear negotiations is in full swing.
These talks have a deadline of July 7th, where all the parties are really scrambling, it seems, to try to meet this latest deadline. Well, we do know that some of the main issues that are yet to be resolved, that Iran has been quite vocal about in the last several days, is that, first of all, they do want all the sanctions relieved at once and not phased out. Secondly, they've said that they want this to happen on the day the agreement starts, and for any future procedures to not be linked to, quote, new procedures. And they also don't want inspections of their military sites, and there are several other key points in their red lines that they've set out. And of course, we do know that the West, on the other hand, first wants to see compliance, and they have been talking about phasing out the sanctions in a way where they can see that Iran is complying with whatever is agreed upon, and then continue to relieve them of the sanctions as the agreement is implemented. Certainly, this is not the first time, and people are sort of walking on their toes a little bit, because of course we know that before we've heard cheers, we thought something was reached, but then again, it didn't quite work out as that way. These are the cheers after the negotiations in Lausanne in April, where the parties went back, but it turned out they were interpreting what was agreed upon quite differently. So certainly any deal that comes out of Vienna in these hours and days to come, hopefully, will have to be very specific in terms of what every single word means.
Well, if Iran and the powers do reach an agreement by Tuesday, it's going to put an end to lengthy negotiations that have spanned 3 Iranian presidents and 2 US administrations. When the talks began back in 2003, Obama wasn't even a senator yet. But as presidents came and went, many nuclear experts remained. One of them missed his child growing up, spending 3/4 of his time on the road. One American negotiator had to postpone his retirement because both Iran and the US asked him to stay. But throughout the talks in recent years, one thing has remained unchanged, and that is the position of the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu.
זו עסקה רעה. בווינה מה שמסתמן זה לא פריצת דרך, אלא קריסת דרך.
Netanyahu also went on to say a deal with Iran would be worse than a nuclear agreement with North Korea. And last week he even said that Iran represents a much greater threat than Islamic State. Iranian-born Israeli Middle East commentator Meir Javandafa says that the Israeli PM is taking his anti-Iran campaigning too far.
This is complete exaggeration. I mean, nobody here believes that the Iranian regime is, it's a friendly regime to Israel. But to say that it's this nuclear Iran is like ISIS with a nuclear weapon is a complete exaggeration. And this is something that hurts the legitimacy of the state of Israel. Now, regarding, can he stop it? I don't think so. I don't think so. And in fact, I think if there's a good deal, we don't need to stop it. There are elements within this that would be fantastic for the security of the state of Israel. Every visit by the IAEA to Iran's nuclear site will provide more information from those nuclear sites, as well as, Iran shipping majority of its low-enriched uranium abroad. If that happens, these will all be good for the state of Israel.
Lots more news still to come your way. See you after this short break.